You guys are saying this has bad takes. This is a great take. I would love for the prize money for the race to be 40 mil. I mean, I'm fucking bro. This is a good video.
Watched event in Warcraft, with thousands of keen-eyed viewers tuning into the race every tier since its inception. In 2018, when Method decided for the first time ever to open the doors and stream their progression.
The song he's using in the background of this, it's like DMCA free, it's like copyright free hype music for announcements, and basically like our trailer and Echo's trailer and like other people's trailers for like their race event for like a solid year used the exact same song that he's playing right now in every video. And it was just a meme.
Decided for the first time ever to open the doors and stream their progression. They paved the way for the race we know it today. They killed Gahoon with some 200,000 viewers glued to the Method stream for that final moment. This tier was something that we had never seen in Warcraft before. An unknown guild from Wildstar entered the scene and arrived at the final boss before the 9-time winners Method. With that,
we were not from Wildstar. That's just completely wrong. We were all WoW players who played Wildstar together. A couple of WoW guilds got together and a few players from each guild played Wildstar for like 3 months total and then went back to WoW. And then years later, we formed a guild with some of those same people being in the guild. That is like... That is...
the race for world first as we know it.
Thanks for kiting in 3, 2, 1.
Let's fucking go!
Out of all the live stream WoW events like AWC, MDI, and TGP, nothing has had anywhere near the same amount of viewership as the race. And to understand how we got here, we have to credit those who started streaming their progress when it was unheard of. The CN Guild Alpha, Future, and BDG, who all...
True. Future honestly kind of got scooped. Like, Future's whole idea was like, we're going to be a good guild that streams progression.
Unheard of.
And...
The CN Guild Alpha, Future.
Like, Future was like the guild that... And they did so well on stream because people... That was the first time that people could watch these fights. If you wanted to watch Mythic Fallen Avatar before... like the 5 videos were out, like you watched Future. Like they were like world rank like 13th or something, but like typically that's how many guilds will be on a boss before the top 5 had killed it and then a video was released since they didn't stream. So then like they just kind of developed this whole market and then they just got like shit on. You know what I mean? Like they basically came up with the idea and then like Method took it over and then there was no reason to watch Future anymore because there were so many bosses behind.
And BDG, who all streamed progress back into Sargeras. And although they weren't world-first contenders, it showed Method the potential for viewership and pushed the narrative to what Method would go on to expand and explode. As more top-level guilds attempt to get involved in streaming the race or elevate their positions, the viewership gets further splintered, and as a result, the workload for these raiders increases due to the increased competition. However, the compensation model hasn't increased at the same rate that we've seen the competition grow.
What does he mean by that? I mean, okay, so yes. Okay, with the competition. It has grown with viewership, though. Like, the amount of money that our guild has made from the start of this till now has just been ramping in a direct line. It has only gone way up. So I guess he's saying the rate the competition increases. I don't know what I guess he means by that.
Your average raider is likely on $0 during progression and downtime.
That is not accurate with us.
If an organization doesn't have a serious sponsored backer, they're likely banging this all out on pure love. If the guild or organization is...
We did all do this on pure love, though. Like, that is one thing that the money is kind of misunderstood, is that money helps retain players and keep people doing this for longer, but it doesn't, like, make people want to do it. And the case study for that is before anyone made any money, we all still did this and paid money to do it for a long, long time, right? So the money, I don't think is that big of a thing, but I'll let him make his take.
Is fortunate enough to have a sponsor for the race, then the raiders could be seeing anywhere from $100 to $400 a month for their time.
That that number is significantly less than what people are making, to the tune of like 5 times. That is not accurate.
At the top of the mountain, you could see a range between $400 to $1,500 a month. Outside of the race season, raiders need to consistently be improving on their class to maintain their spot on the roster. Multi-classing is now a huge factor in a player handbook, so making new alts, maintaining the same characters, staying across class changes on all of them, attending mandatory sale runs to ensure that there's enough gold to fund
Sale
the
runs
next
aren't
gear
mandatory.
is all a part of a raider's off-season duties. As the competition increases, so does the amount of work required to beat the competition. All of this without there being a promise of a viable financial future or an income stream. So to start, how does an organization raise capital to play players, analysts, and put on events? Sponsorship, of course.
Okay.
This is why you get pounded with ads when you're watching a Race World First broadcast. The higher the organization's viewership, the more sponsor exposure and combined ad revenue the organizations can make. Now, to really understand why a bunch of people racing to kill monsters the quickest whilst being paid peanuts is Blizzard's problem, you just need to turn an eye to CSGO, Dota 2, League, and Valorant. These are all juggernauts that have stood the test of time and popularity, and all of them have...
Oh, very different though, right? Like just insanely different. So like, okay, here's probably the biggest difference. If you're someone who doesn't really know a lot about games, but you randomly get placed, you get teleported into a CSGO arena, a major, and you are watching on the big screen 2 groups of 5 playing against each other and like positioning and like winning rounds and stuff, within like an hour you would get it. You know what I mean? It's like CSGO has always been like the most perfect esport because it is so watchable and easy to understand for the non-gamer, and it's just very tactical. WoW is completely incomparable to that. Like WoW guilds raiding against each other, comparing that to 5-on-5 League, CS, Valorant, Dota is a big stretch for sure.
One thing in common. They all have crowd-funded prize pools. In 2013...
No, is Max going to shit on this video the whole time? Well, it is a pretty shit video because I haven't even seen the video. The video might have some good takes, and it's okay for people to think outside the box. It's also okay for people to have takes that we don't agree with. Maybe if they're wrong or they're right? You know, that's okay. I'm not shitting on him. I'm just reacting to what he's saying.
2013, Valve with Dota 2 changed the landscape and used crowdfunding to source their prize pool by selling in-game cosmetic items and features, and a portion of that was passed on to the players competing. The International won in 2013.
So he's saying that we should crowdfund?
$1.6 million, and it peaked in 2021 at 40 mil.
I mean, chat, you guys are saying this has bad takes. This is a great take. I would love for the prize money for the race to be 40 mil. I mean, I'm fucking... Bro, this is a good video.
International 11 in October
Let's go.
31st, 2022 was
This is sick.
19 mil. Now, the race for World First has enough...
Okay, but like that's like so not comparable though. Like unless you're saying you want to crowdfund. But like does Blizzard do that though? Like they don't do that for their other esports. They like did some crowdfunding thing a couple years ago for AWC MDI. It's just not an official Blizzard thing, but I'm assuming his take is going to be Blizzard needs to make this an official Blizzard thing. That seems to be where this is going.
Mil. Now, the race for World First has enough viewership to engage with leading mainstream brands, and it has the potential for growth. Simply put, the race is a showcase of Blizzard's brand new content, showcasing it to the world in front of hundreds of thousands of people, bringing community elements together and getting more and more people from all walks of life into raiding and into Blizzard.
Such a good raid.
In 2019, Blizzard did actually attempt to crowdfund the prize pool for AWC and MDI. We, the crowd, raised a total of $2.64 million, which is a really decent first round attempt. But to say that Blizzard dropped the ball when attempting this is like pissing on someone's head and telling them it's raining. They...
Is that a saying? Do people say that somewhere? It okay. All right, shit. What'd you say, Quick? I've thought about crowdfunding, just not sure how it would work. I get how MOBA and FPS works. Well, I just don't know how crowdfunding would work in this scenario because like who gets crowdfunding? How much does it get split? Is it between all the race? Like, is it just for Echo and Liquid and Method? Like Echo, Liquid, and Method have like 99.9% of the market share of like views during the race of people that are providing value. Is it split evenly between the top 10 guilds? Is it based on placement? And then if it's based on placement, then you immediately have to address the global release thing. So like you basically have to, this would have, the only scenario this works is when Blizzard actually just owns the race. And I guess that must be where this guy is going. Also, he's about to give a take about the crowdfunding in 2019. I actually think the crowdfunding in 2019 thing was like massively overblown. I think the reason that I think Blizzard could have done that better, I guess. But all of the stuff that they said how it was going to work is how it was working from the front. Just people like didn't read it or something. Because I remember looking back at this. Because I had a couple friends who were competing in these at the time, the AWC and the MDI, and I was at this BlizzCon when this found out. Basically what happens is they told this to them in a player meeting. They basically reiterated information that was already publicly posted, and then one of the players, I think it was Snuts, had like a negative reaction to that and like tweeted about it and was like, yo, what the fuck? And basically they already knew, but like I guess he didn't know, and like the WoW community reacted to this and was like, yo, Blizzard fucking pulled a fast one on them. They said like they were going to give them all this money. Basically, it was like, okay, we're guaranteeing a prize pool of 500K. Like that is going to be the case. And then we're going to do this crowdfunding thing. And a percentage of the crowdfunding thing will be split between like AWC and MDI or whatever. And then the money went over 500K. I think it was like 1.2 mil or something. And they split that for AWC and MDI, and that became the prize pool. But because it was split, it ended up only being a little bit more. And I think the way that it was interpreted, at least on Twitter, was that Snuts, or maybe all of the players, but at least Snuts, thought that it meant when they said they were guaranteeing a 500K prize pool, what that meant was if this crowdfunding doesn't reach that, we will still put up 500K. And how I guess the players read it, or he read it, was we're going to put in 500K and you're getting that plus all of this money, which was not what they ever said would happen, but that's how it was interpreted. And then they ended up doing what they said would happen. And basically, I don't remember exactly what the numbers were. He'll probably explain it. But the numbers were... is basically they did what they initially said they were going to do. But the community impression and how bad... he said that this was a huge failure. It's like pissing on your head and saying it's raining. The still public opinion of this is that Blizzard changed their mind and like took a bunch of money back at the last second. And that just is just straight up not true.
Balked it hard. Blizzard took a big foul cut of that crowdfunding, around $1.95 million, leaving approximately $330,000 for AWC and MDI each, and they didn't add their usual $500,000 to the prize pool either. Basically, the community paid for both events, Blizzard walked away with a profit, pissed off the whole community, and if you'd ever like a case study for how not to conduct a crowdfund, here it is.
If Blizzard is still if Blizzard is 90% of people misunderstood how it works and it's their fault, sure, maybe they weren't clear enough about it, but they weren't mad at them for not being clear enough about it. They were mad at them for thinking that they scammed the players and like lied to them, and that just isn't what happened. That's where all of the madness came from.
I talked about today on my stream. Originally, I was very skeptical about the idea that Blizzard effectively used the players' goodwill in supporting the competitors in these events to end up subsidizing the tournament, and the way Blizzard wouldn't have to pay anything. And it turns out that, unfortunately, that's the case.
Recently, the AWC was announced for Dragon
What year was
Flight
this? It was in
Season 2 with
2019. It was the last BlizzCon that was out, Quick, if you remember. It was the last time that they had a... I don't know if you were actually... You're probably at Blizzard during the time. You might have still been at Xbox. I don't remember. But yeah, it was like 2019. It was the last BlizzCon before it got taken down until this year due to COVID. And it was like a crowdfunding thing for the AWC and the MDI specifically. It's a really popular toy too. Like a lot of people have this toy. It did really well.
400,000 USD prize pool being offered, with 300,000 split between the 4 final teams. But really, 330,000 USD for AWC in 2019 via crowdfunding, and now in 20...
Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Did they take a cut of the crowdfunding though? I can look back into it and see how the whole thing played out, but I remember paying really close attention to it at the time, And it was like they said a portion of this will go towards the crowdfunding. And that portion is what they ended up paying. But then when it all came to light later, the misconception was Blizzard changed their mind and took more than they originally said they were. And that did not happen. And they also changed. And the opinion is that they like ended up not giving 500,000 when they never said they were going to do that. They only ever said that they would guarantee a minimum of a 500,000 prize pool. Yeah. THD said they would guarantee a 500K split between both AWC and MDI. Correct. That was under the implication that the toy did not sell that, basically. So they did full crowdfunding, but then they were also like, if it doesn't work out that well, we will guarantee 500K. It passed 500K. One player in a player meeting at BlizzCon heard that and was like, yo, we're not getting 500K plus this. That's some bullshit. And then that spawned the whole drama. That's all it was.
23, we're at 400,000 USD. Blizzard are on some cooked inflation line. This is of course from an organization that made $5.73 billion in profit in 2022. During this expansion, it has become clear that Blizzard is once again attempting to invest in the Twitch audience, trying to engage with the community after they've mismanaged it so poorly in the past, in certain areas at least.
Yo, am I about to be on the screen? Let's go. Yo, you know what's funny? Before this interview, right before this interview, I went and changed my shirt. So I interviewed Ian a month and a half before this, and I did it not in Liquid apparel. And then I got yelled at by Liquid for some reason. They were like, when you're doing official important stuff, you wear Liquid. And I was like, okay, I was wearing Liquid like yesterday and the day before with more viewers, but all good. And then, so it was 1 minute before I started this Morgan Day interview. I don't think the VOD is still there, but I was wearing a different shirt, and then you could see my face realize that I wasn't wearing it. And I was like, 1 second, I got to be right back, with Morgan already on Zoom. And I just sprinted to my room and threw on the first Team Liquid shirt I could find, and then came back and started the interview. Wait, I did an interview with Morgan Day, and I used the meme Khadgar Men's Warehouse picture? I don't remember doing that. That's the one from my starting soon screen. This one. Where, like, I randomly put a picture of Khadgar in a Men's Warehouse try it on feature, and it, like, gave him a weird hand, and, like, it made him have a foot. Bro, I used it in the, I used it in the actual interview. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, dude, that stream bounty was the gift that kept on giving. Men's Warehouse paid me to look at their website for 10 minutes, and I created memes for the rest of time. It was beautiful. Oh, it was the same day. Okay. Yeah, either way. But anyways, he was saying something here about they had really mismanaged the community in the past. So basically, for the longest time, Blizzard, under the direction of their community management, they were not really very pro-influencer. I noticed a big difference with this because I had a girlfriend at Riot at the time, and I had met a lot of people from Riot, including like the head influencer manager there. We've had KBBQ with her a couple times. And like I knew what Riot did with their influencers. I hate the word influencer, holy shit. But like the people who like play and stream their games. Dude, if you're like a TFT viewer, if you're a TFT streamer with 50 viewers and like a new set is coming out, they'll fly you to fucking LA, to Santa Monica, to like try that shit. That's the level of investment. Dude, for a couple of years with Blizzard, they really were not very influencer forward. They did not really do a lot for their content creators, and it was just like kind of part of their, it was like just their thing with their company. It was a big difference looking at Riot to Blizzard, but like that was just how it was. Especially when Josh Allen Lore was like the head CM guy. Now that has changed drastically in the last year to two. Shoutout Lugia Blaster and Linksy and all of them. They have been much more active with creators, feedback, and just in general opportunities and things. Like they're like Riot tier now with that kind of stuff, as far as I've experienced it. So that is true where they haven't been great with creators in the past. That is not true now. They are very, very good with it now. Yeah.
Developer interviews with community creators conducting them. Support a streamer program. Twitch drops are finally here.
Oh.
But they are making and conducting them. Support a
Yo, this guy's been on the launcher? Bro, I want to be on the launcher.
streamer program. Twitch drops are
Dude, Twitch drops are dope. Twitch drops for WoW were awesome. And I was really happy about one thing. They basically allowed the whole section to do it. They weren't selective. And usually what drops do is they really only help the people at the top of the category. I was obviously one of the people to benefit from this, so obviously I'm biased in some way. But one thing that I was really happy about is they allowed everyone to do it. And when I looked down my follower list at the beginning of Dragonflight when they had these drops active, is literally every streamer I am following had like double their viewership during this whole time. So that was actually a huge thing for a lot of creators. Obviously, like me and Asmon gained like proportionally an infinite amount more, but like everyone was eating basically with these drops.
finally here. So they are making an attempt to engage with content creators and their audience at a real level. But why is it important for an organization that made $5 billion in profit last year to focus on trying to grow their esports sector for a top % of the player base?
By the way, I don't know what this says. This is like I guess this is how much Blizzard, the literal president of Blizzard, hey, he's in here right now, quick, goes 5 billion in profit. Yeah, I wish, or something like that. So this is probably like what it is when you Google like a creator and you Google their net worth, and then it's like it just makes up a number. Like whenever you search the net worth of any celebrity or person at all, that number is unbelievably fucking made up. So this is probably along those lines.
Focus on trying to grow their esports sector for a top % of the player base. I get that seems like a hard sell, but can you imagine what WoW would be like without its competitive scene? Race for World First has long been a thing before it ever became a stream event back in...
That is an interesting world. I would love to see an alternate reality where people still race for World First, but Method never streams it. It never blows up to this level. And like where WoW is now in it, as far as Twitch category, as far as player base, because the reality is that a lot of people play this game and don't interact with competitive rating at all, and probably never, like WoW's player base is very casual. They probably don't give a fuck about like the race, right? But I know for a fact the race has certainly had influence. It's brought in viewers, it's kept interest. And I mean, I personally have gotten messages from hundreds of people over the years that are like, you know, reaching out and be like, dude, I got back into raiding from hearing you in your guild raid. Like, stuff like that. And who knows how many other people didn't message me that, but did that, right? So, like, it clearly has an effect. I would just love to see the alternate reality of the race never being streamed, like how much it actually mattered.
In the WoW movie days, you'd go and download the world first kills or server first kills, watch those moments and hear those nerd screams. The Race for World First has never had a catered esports branding approach to it from Blizzard. It has been cultivated and driven solely through community purpose. But imagine what it could be with the right approach and support. Growing this avenue gives a renewed reason to the top players, to the organizations to grow. It spreads naturally to more people in the space. It gives a reason for new ones to enter into the game, and the community continues to thrive and grow, which is what we want. WoW has always been a staple game that has stood the test of time for 18 years, but it has fallen so short to provide a real esports avenue that actually holds up to any of the other mentioned games. And I honestly believe that Race for World First brings real hope to be able to change that. The fact is that getting into the MDI, AWC, Race for World First takes a lot of time. Without continued incentive and support in the space for it to grow, we're likely always going to see those pillars from EU.
Okay, but like the MDI and the AWC are like kind of the same though. Like it's not like Blizzard, if his take is like Blizzard needs to run the Race World First, people in the MDI aren't like really supported. Like the amount of time you put into the MDI is like you're working at McDonald's or less. Not to say that Blizzard doesn't give them enough money, because like if you look at the prize pools for the MDI, for the viewership it gets, it all adds up. You know, it's not like they're skimping them there. In fact, I would actually argue that they give a lot more. The only people who are making money are the people who are winning the cups and the casters. The casters make a lot of money, which is basically just Echo. So outside of Echo, no one's really making any money from Echo's MDI team. No one's making any money from the MDI. And the AWC, I don't know how the money is with that. Shout out Team Liquid. Didn't TL win the AWC Cup this weekend?
You and NA
Let's
in
go.
Method, Echo, and Liquid, dominating the space without the real capability, any brand new real contenders to enter. Combine that with fewer players entering the space anyway
True.
at the high level scene as they chase down pro scenes in Valorant, CSGO, and League, it could mean eventually that Race for World First just fizzes out to a shadow of its former glorious self.
Change how we approach this thing, you know, how we approach Race for World First, because this is not like, this is not, I don't want to do this like this again, you know. It's not worth it for me.
Swinging back to that one time that Blizzard failed horrifically at crowdfunding, at the bottom end of that entry-level attempt, $2.64 million, split between the top 10 guilds, average 26-person sort of split.
Wait,
between
Supreme?
the top 10 guilds, average 26.
Yeah. Wait, did you see Supreme? Where? That is Supreme. Wait, that's all of us. That's Ruin. Is that Mini? Yeah, that's Mini. That's Ruin. That's Supreme. That's Jacob.
Specifically at crowdfunding, at the bottom end of that entry-level attempt, $2.64 million, split between the top 10 guilds, average 26-person sort of roster.
Wait, 1
between-
second. Whoa.
Swinging back to that one time that Blizzard failed horrifically at crowdfunding, at the bottom
Again, very misunderstood crowdfunding situation.
end of that entry-level attempt, $2.64 million, split between the top 10 guilds, average 26-person sort of roster with players and coaches, 260 people at an even split would have got $10,153 each. Now, if you were
But like, why would you split it within the top 10? Like, are the top 10 guilds... See, this is where it gets murky. Are all of the top 10 guilds providing equal value to the race? I guess he's just making a point, but let's continue.
apply your pie in the sky dreams of Dota 2's top crowd-funded $40 million, that'd be $153,846 per player at an average.
Yo, that
even
sounds
split
good.
to the top 10 guilds.
Guys,
And Blizzard
I'm
could
liking what
utilize
this
things
guy is
like the
saying.
Battle.net launcher to boost organizations and guilds.
Let's
in
just
front of
get 40
viewers
million
during
then.
These events. Blizzard could rotate the top 10 guilds on the leaderboard via the launcher, attracting even more eyes and hopefully new eyes to the event and their brand new
This is good.
content. This does come as a double-edged sword for Blizzard, though.
You guys said that I wouldn't like this guy's video. This guy is basically saying that Blizzard should pay us millions of dollars for doing the race. I'm fucking... Yo, this guy is cooking up some good
If they
shit.
took this on, they would accept all social responsibilities for what content is being promoted via their application. I'd love
Let's
to see
go.
the prize pool extended out to the top 10 guilds. I feel like this would attract new sponsors, new players, and organizations to this level of the race. It's important to remember that these world-first organizations aren't just the raiders. They have an ever-expanding team behind the scenes
Yup.
that make these races happen to the standard we expect today. We've seen so many guilds fall to decay over the years. The constant battles of keeping rosters alive after the top-seeded
Insidia.
guilds use these lower guilds as recruitment pools. Giving these guilds a reason to keep the lights on is important to see growth and new talent. Having something so grassroots in nature like raiding, and then opening that up to the possibility that even your guild could make a push and walk away with a cut of the prize pool would catapult the popularity of World of Warcraft. And there are so many 3 to 5 day guilds in that scene that would jump at this opportunity. You couldn't talk about the Race for World First without mentioning global release. If Blizzard does get involved, the need for global
of
release
course.
becomes paramount. With Blizzard being an NA California-based company, I think the EU at the competitive level have all but accepted the fact that if global release was to occur, it would be on NA hours. The motivation of allowing competitors to make an actual living from doing something they love, though, would likely soften the blow of an altered sleep schedule for 2 weeks. That being said, though, with Heroic and Mythic being released at the same time, the first days of all races are filled with splits, so it would likely just even out. I believe that Blizzard needs to get involved. Crowdfunding could really save the Race for World First and pump new life into one of the most unique esports.
That's definitely the best part of Blizzard getting involved is that it would force them to do global release. That is like the biggest gain. And the 40 million. That part is also really good. But yeah, I still just don't know. Because, like, there's other negatives too, right? So, like, StarCraft was, like, a majorly community-run esport. And it was, like, one of the most OG esports. And then Blizzard picked it up, and it kind of died. Overwatch, kind of the same thing. I don't know if Blizzard has, like, an excellent track record with, like, turning things that are community-run into esports and it being great. So I'm a little afraid of that. Like for example, yes, getting if Blizzard picks it up and you get global release, that is a positive. If Blizzard picks it up and it's much more financially sustainable for all the people competing, that is obviously a positive. But is there also a world where it hurts the product? Is there a world where, like, okay, if they pick it up, they have to do something else, right? They have to go back and kind of do what they did in Sepulcher. In Sepulcher, they tuned the race just straight up around the race to world first. And that raid decimated the community. So I think the best races are kind of ones where they tune for everyone else and we just kind of exist. Plenty of races in the past. Basically every race except for Sepulcher in the last, like, and I guess Vault in the last, like, 4 or 5 years since I've been doing this, have not really been tuned for the race. They were just tuned for everyone else, and then the race was good. So, like, if Blizzard picks it up, do they have to give more effort into the raids? Do they start doing that? I mean, the whole global release idea, why don't they do global release, right? Because they would be doing something for 40 people, or I guess everyone else who cares about the race, and then how many countless guilds in every region now just have a reset time that occurs right in the middle of their raid, and now that guild has to die, or they have to reform, or they have to just play, and then that... This is just Blizzard's argument. This is what Blizzard says every time. Like, it would just affect so many more people. So, like, if the whole concept is don't change anything for the race if it affects other people in a negative way, kind of, if they go by that philosophy, which you already know they do, and they certainly did with this raid, then you already know that they're not going to consider doing like this because, you know... I don't know. It just seems unlikely. And the title of the video is Save the Race to World First, so Blizzard needs to come in and save it. While there are a couple of upsides for sure, there is just definitely a world where Blizzard takes control of this and makes it worse, because that kind of is history repeating itself. And it becomes weird and different. I don't know. Plus, just recently, like I said, they did the let's make the race as hard as possible and it'll, like, be a thing for longer, and it didn't have good results, right? For the rest of the game. And then they clearly moved past that philosophically recently. So why would they do that just to go back? Right? Like, this is like one of the most... this raid that's out right now is like one of the most well-liked raids in a long time. And it's like... And they kind of got that from moving past that line of sight, so...
There is...
Or that line of thinking.
There is a reason the race has always had such a huge presence in WoW. You should be able to buy an in-game item, just like the fireworks that were released for the AWC, or a unique...
Yeah, I guess Zaskarn is like a big deal. Zaskarn actually throws a wrench in all of it. Basically, the opinions of the raid were very positive before the Skarn change, and now... After the Skarn change, people will be like, I liked the raid, but I hated Skarn.
Tabard, or a tabard of your favorite top 10 guild crest. This doesn't need to be a $25 in-game store item either. Maybe $5. Let Blizzard earn back some of the trust with the community and keep their greed in check.
I really feel like almost anyone who thinks that crowdfunding thing was greedy from Blizzard doesn't understand the situation at all.
Does anything need to be done? Should Blizzard
Strongly.
get involved? And how would you fix the race?
Grant me one final blessing. Give me the strength to shatter these bonds.
Oh, what is he doing? What is he cooking up here? Is he gonna do some super epic Race World First outro? Go through every boss in order? Oh yeah, he is.
No more, Arthas! No more lives will be consumed by your hatred! Free at last.
Oh my god.
It is over, my son. This is the moment of reckoning.
The monster in your
Rise up, champions of the light!
Thousand faces.
Usataunta. Dude, is there any more like epic phrase in the history of like WoW rating than fucking Usataunta? That is like the GOAT.
The Lich King must fall!
Yes. Dude, speaking of that, bro, I cannot wait to co-stream and watch the Wrath Race to World First in class, or the ICC Race to World First in Classic. That shit is going to be so fucking fun, man. 45-minute raid, bro. I don't know why do people poo-poo the classic raid so much. Who cares that it's in 45 minutes to an hour to an hour and a half? That is a lit hour and a half. It's old content being released again. It's like you get to go through all the nostalgia. It's like fast paced. It's infinitely better than it lasting 3 days for classic. Like, you know what a 3-day classic Race World First would look like? It would be them wiping to like some overtuned, unkillable, fucking weird shit for like days. It'd be impossible to watch. It's so much better to watch like that.